You're listening to AI PRISM from Seoul Economic Daily.
Is Korea's AI regulatory and platform landscape a viable foundation for startup operations right now, or is the risk too high? It's Thursday, July 2nd. Let's look at what this means for startups and entrepreneurs in Korea.
Yeah, that is the big question for founders today.
Exactly, because right now, relying entirely on a single U.S. model, it feels exactly like building a factory on rented, heavily guarded land. The landlord can just change the lock, so what exactly happened with the Anthropic situation?
Anthropic's export restriction lasted exactly 18 days before the U.S. Commerce Department reversed course.
18 days. For almost 3 weeks. If your Korean startup's product was built solely on their APIs, you were just, totally locked out due to sudden U.S. trade compliance issues. That is a near fatal pause for operations that forces founders to really control their own destiny. How are local players pivoting to solve this distribution risk?
Upstage activated 10 million weekly Daum users.
Okay, so let's unpack this because it's a brilliant bypass of that exact risk. Upstage didn't just try to, build a better model in a vacuum. They essentially bought the highway by partnering with one of Korea's biggest web portals. But what is the actual end game for integrating into a legacy search portal?
Daum's full AI mode will replace conventional search entirely before year-end 2026.
Oh, wow. So they're completely owning the deployment scale by forcing millions to use their AI layer by default. That solves the software distribution problem, but running these models requires massive physical computing power. As we zoom out, where is the physical bottleneck for Korean startups right now?
Toss Securities identified power and cooling infrastructure as the next investment bottleneck impacting the hashtag COSPI.
Right, so looking at the KOSPI, the heavy tech investors are looking at electricity and thermodynamics. You literally can't run these massive local models if you can't plug them in or keep the data centers from melting down. Yet, despite these physical limits, enterprise integration is accelerating fast. So what kind of physical deployment are we actually seeing on the ground?
Shinhan Bank deployed AI teller units across 160 branches.
Boy, 160 branches, that sounds incredibly expensive up front. Why would a traditional bank take a leap that massive across physical locations instead of just doing a quiet software pilot program? What kind of financial return validates that?
Shinhan Financial Group generated 652.3 billion won, or 465 million USD in cost savings.
465 million US dollars in savings is massive physical footprint validation. The financial return on that deployment is what really changes the game for B2B startups trying to sell their tech. So we've covered the platform risk, the distribution hedge, and the enterprise validation. What does this all mean for you when you're sitting at the strategy table?
The 18-day Anthropic restriction shifts Korea's AI platform risk profile up, proving founders building on single U.S. models face sudden access cuts. Upstage's Daum acquisition demonstrates the structural edge, owning the distribution layer to control deployment scale. Shinhan's 465 million USD in validated savings provides enterprise founders a hard benchmark to replace pilot proposals with quantified procurement conversations.
That quantified benchmark is everything, but here is something else you really need to monitor if you're building in this space. The Ministry of Trade's new Humanoid Robot Safety Certification Framework is targeting 1,000 AI robots annually by 2028.
Wow, that's a massive target.
Right. So you have to ask yourself, how will this upcoming regulatory bottleneck determine how fast industrial buyers can actually procure these systems? If you solve distribution and cooling, can the regulators even keep pace with your deployment speed?
That is definitely the next big hurdle to watch.
That's today's AI PRISM, founders. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI PRISM is a WAN-IFRA award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI PRISM from Seoul Economic Daily.